WrestleMania card is slowly starting to come together. As the fog of war starts to lift, we can see that both Night 1 and Night 2 main events of WrestleMania 40 are confirmed, and every single title on the main roster, ranging from the world titles all the way down to the tag titles and the mid-card titles, either have a confirmed match or there is an obvious path to an obvious match like Randy Orton versus Logan Paul versus Kevin Owens. And we even have a couple of non-title feuds already starting to cement themselves, like Jimmy versus Jay. So already it's looking like some of the WWE's top stars are cementing their spot at this year's WrestleMania. However, not all of them have a clear path just yet. And these are the people that we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about WWE superstars that could potentially be left off of the WrestleMania card altogether. I believe the popular term is WrestleMania snubs. We're going to talk about those individuals that don't have a path yet should be on WrestleMania based on their hierarchy in the pecking order of the WWE. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I'm confident you're going to fall in love with this YouTube channel because we upload daily wrestling content. And as you can see, I'm apparently joining the Judgment Day. Dirty Santi Zap Mysterio. All right, let's jump into it. This first one absolutely boggles my mind. I see no world where one of the top stars in the WWE, one of the most influential members of the WWE roster, is left off of the WrestleMania 40 card, considering also the fact that she was the one that opened the WrestleMania 40 kickoff press conference. Bianca Belair is going to find herself some way, some form on the WrestleMania card. Now, if you were to put a gun to my head and ask me what's the feud that they're going to go with, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know, because they haven't done anything for Bianca Belair in terms of creating a feud, a narrative against somebody that she's going to go face off against at WrestleMania. To me, it's very clear that the path that was always cemented, that was the clear road to WrestleMania, was Bianca Belair versus Charlotte. Whether that was for a title, not for a title, it didn't matter. That was the big money match from the women's side on SmackDown. And now that Charlotte Flair is injured, it does leave Bianca Belair in limbo, which is, again, mind-boggling that we are less than 4 weeks away from WrestleMania and one of WWE's top stars doesn't yet have a match. In terms of where they could go, maybe we can find a feud between her and Tiffany Stratton. We saw a little bit of friction between her and Naomi. I know that a lot of us are calling for her to maybe have a feud with Jade Cargill. However, I haven't seen the two interact in any capacity in recent times. So we need to either move things along so that we can get to destination Jade Cargill versus Bianca Belair if that's the case, because right now Bianca's still at the station and she needs to get on a train on this road to WrestleMania as soon as possible. It's possible that maybe they end up doing the Seth Rollins route with her, where she goes out during WrestleMania and asks for somebody to come challenge her, and maybe that's how we end up getting Jade Cargill. But personally, I feel like that would be a little bit of a disservice to both Jade and Bianca Belair, because part of what we want to see is not just the match, but the interactions leading to the match. And it's not as if Jade Cargill is some surprise shock free agent signing like Cody Rhodes was back at WrestleMania 38. She's in the company. If the plan is to do Bianca versus Jade Cargill, have them interact in some way, shape, or form, please. Absolutely, you cannot be this deep into the road to WrestleMania and Bianca Belair not yet have a match or feud. This is kind of insane. They need to move this along quickly. Here's another one that's starting to hurt my soul, hurt my heart, and that is Chad Gable, who as of the making of this video just lost the Intercontinental Championship Gauntlet match to determine who the #1 contender will be for Gunther's Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. That nod is gonna go to Sami Zayn. Now, I do want to stress on this, okay? I was very much off of the Chad Gable bandwagon. I was telling the world that Chad Mania is done. It's over. He had his chance and they weren't gonna push him again, and it looked like that was gonna be the case as they really took a backseat to Tozawa's comedic antics, and Chad Gable was losing left, right, and center, and sometimes just outright just not appearing on TV shows. And it looked like that was it. The hype for Chad Gable was done and over just like that, which was sad because he's so good. But then the WWE over the last couple of weeks has done such a great job of rebuilding the hype machine for Chad Gable. These amazing promos, these amazing vignettes, and they sold me. I was so on board for Chad Gable versus Gunther. Yeah, I do want to see Chad Gable's daughter get that smile back as he beats Gunther. Yeah, I want to see Gunther versus Chad Gable Part 3 and have have that be an all-time WrestleMania classic, and then they just yank it away from us. Don't get me wrong, Sami Zayn Gunther, that's gonna be fantastic, that's gonna be great, but the better WrestleMania build was given to Chad, not Sami Zayn. So now I'm left with wondering, what's the plan for Chad? Clearly there has to be some vision because otherwise they wouldn't have done all of this to help build Chad Gable back up as a credible contender for Gunther. There are thoughts of maybe him being in the tag team ladder match. That could be a way for him to get in there. And then there's also the possibility that he is still in this Intercontinental Championship match and they make it a triple threat. Although I see a tough world where we're having 2 triple threat matches for mid-card titles because it's looking like the US title is going to go the triple threat route. There is footage and there is proof that his shoulders were not properly down when Sami Zayn pinned him during the gauntlet match. So maybe they spin that into an angle. We've seen recently that the WWE has taken things that have initially started as online murmur, like the Maxine Dupree stuff, and they've made on-screen storylines out of it. So maybe this his shoulders weren't properly down narrative that's being driven by the internet wrestling community, maybe that'll come into play. But right now, I don't know what they're doing with Chad Gable, and it's baffling because they did such a good job of building him as a WrestleMania threat. Hey, do you want even more wrestling content? Because over on the Patreon, we just uploaded the most recent Raw review, but also the Wrestling is Cool podcast is already up and live over there. You're going to get that podcast 3 days early. You're also going to get the Raw reviews, SmackDown reviews, and more content like Wrestling is Cool Gaming. So go check it out. Patreon.com/SantiZap. It's the way that I'm able to do this on a full-time basis, and there's over 500 of you that are already supporting me on Patreon. Thank you very much. I'm done with the sellout. Sorry, gotta pay the bills, you know? Back to the video. In this section, I'm basically going to include 2 people. I've got Braun Breaker and Tiffany Stratton. They both sort of fall in the same camp, with both being recent marquee NXT call-ups that we know are gonna have huge careers. Now with Braun Breaker, it seemed, at least at the beginning, during all of this Brock Lesnar being involved in the Vince McMahon stuff allegations, that he was just gonna get all of the Brock Lesnar spots. He got all of the Brock Lesnar spots at the Royal Rumble, so we figured, if the original rumor was Braun Breaker Gunther, Brock Lesnar Gunther, then Braun Breaker Gunther would be a natural next transition, considering Braun Breaker already took all the Brock Lesnar cues at the Royal Rumble. Doesn't seem to be the case. I see no path right now for Braun Breaker to compete at WrestleMania, considering right now on the main roster, all he's doing is just the local jobber or NXT level up guy squash match where he's winning in less than a minute. That seems to be the path that they're going in, and it's a path that works. It worked with Goldberg and it worked with Ryback in terms of getting him over in his initial portions of the Ryback gimmick. So I'm okay with them doing that. However, you can't build to WrestleMania with just that. And I think it's almost entirely too late to build Braun Breaker to be at WrestleMania. However, he's going to be competing at WrestleMania weekend because he has a match at NXT Stand and Deliver for the tag title. So it's not as if Braun Breaker is not going to be utilized on WrestleMania weekend. The other one is Tiffany Stratton, who I see as having less of a direct path to WrestleMania weekend because she has no ties right now to NXT, so she likely won't be participating at NXT Stand and Deliver. So the only options for her really are just WrestleMania. And she right now is winning matches against credible mid-cards to upper mid-card talent in the main roster, unlike Braun Breaker, who's just squashing people. But none of these matches have truly materialized into something bigger than just Tiffany Stratton winning. And it's a little bit weird that she doesn't have some sort of feud going into WrestleMania, considering how well she's been treated in this call up from NXT to the main roster, how great she was received by fans and critics during the Elimination Chamber and her performance there, and the fact that she's Tiffany freaking Stratton, this is a generational talent for the women's division. But I think it might just be entirely too late to build something for her, unless again it's for somebody like Bianca Belair. But I feel like they would have started this already. I'm gonna lump these 2 together. We have Naomi and Andrade, both WWE's biggest free agent acquisitions over the last couple of months. WWE getting Andrade after him becoming a free agent coming from AEW, and getting Naomi after she became a free agent coming from TNA. Both are marquee signings. Both are very much capable of being main eventers, but also upper mid-carders. So there's a lot of flexibility in terms of what you can do with both of these talents. Right now, they aren't doing a heck of a whole lot. When we look at Andrade, there's very little in terms of in-ring action for Andrade. He's had one free televised match on Monday Night Raw against Apollo Crews. That was just to debut him, to showcase Andrade, to show the world how good he is. But in terms of stories and narratives, he's kind of got this white flag, no contact feud going with the likes of the Judgment Day, where they're kind of at arm's length. We like each other? Do we not like each other? But I don't know where you can make a feud out of this. Maybe Andrade and Dominic Mysterio, because Dominic Mysterio could also be on this list. If I really wanted to dive into a lot more people, maybe this leads to Andrade versus Dominic Mysterio in some capacity. To be honest, I feel like the Andrade and Judgment Day feud to me is just a precursor for the sequel, or I guess the trilogy, because they've faced each other 2 times already. Anyways, Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte. I feel that's how we connect back to that. But I don't see how we can build anything WrestleMania worthy between Andrade and Judgment Day at the moment. And then there's Naomi, who has sort of been used as enhancement talent for Tiffany Stratton, as she recently lost to Tiffany Stratton, and kind of similarly, Tiffany Stratton just doesn't have this path to WrestleMania that's clear and obvious yet, unless it's going to end up being another like turmoil match for the tag titles. Maybe it's going to be another one of those WrestleMania showcase matches where it's just a bunch of people getting put together in tag teams so that we can give time for people to appear on WrestleMania. That to me seems to be the only path for Naomi. Frankly, for Andrade, I can't see it going beyond an appearance in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal the night before WrestleMania at WrestleMania SmackDown, if they plan on doing that again this year. So both of these guys, they're in danger. They're in the danger zone of just not appearing in WrestleMania at all. And to me, that's problematic, not just because, these are 2 great talents, but also these are like your 2 big marquee signings over the last year. So I don't know, man. Like, I feel like other free agents are going to look at this like, look, they just signed these 2 that are very much capable workers that have star power, and they're not using them for WrestleMania. It could be a bit of a bad look. So I do hope, for the sake of creating a good environment for free agents to want to land in, I hope they use them at WrestleMania. Here's 2 guys that shouldn't be left off of the WrestleMania card, but the way things are going, I don't see how they fit into WrestleMania. Look, this feud between Bobby Lashley and Karrion Kross, in my opinion, this is my thoughts, but I'm sure that I'm vocalizing some things that you might be thinking. This shit is on its last legs. I'm losing so much interest in Bobby Lashley versus Karrion Kross, the Street Profits, Authors of Pain, B-Fab, and Scarlett. Like, we have been down this road week after week after week after week, and they haven't done anything yet to really create that, whoa, this feud, god damn, I cannot wait for this to happen at WrestleMania. This is to me, this feels like New Day versus Imperium, even though that was actually really, really good, where I think it's gonna just climax on SmackDown. I can't see how this feud could get good enough to the point where I'm like, this needs to have a blow off at WrestleMania. I don't. I already feel like it's on its last legs. I already feel like we need to reach this climax sooner rather than later. And right now, with how cold, in my opinion, this feud is, it doesn't belong on WrestleMania. And if they're not going to get on WrestleMania with this feud, it's too late. They're not going to get on WrestleMania at all, most likely. Liv Morgan has been so good since coming back to the WWE. Her moveset is so clean, crisp, and so crafty, and there's like a lot of ingenuity behind the new moveset that she's included ever since she's come back from this injury at the Royal Rumble. She has been putting on great matches, just recently put on a banger with Becky Lynch in the most recent episode of Monday Night Raw as of the making of this video. But to me, it feels like maybe it's just a case of too little too late, that she maybe came back to the WWE too late to really cement her versus Rhea as the marquee WrestleMania feud over Becky Lynch versus Rhea Ripley. Because right now, to me, it feels like the only reason she's not facing Rhea is because Becky's there. I can't think of another reason, because it's not that Becky's been better, because I don't think that she has. It's not because Becky has a better storyline, because I'd say that Liv has the better storyline. I think it's just because Lynch has the star power, more over at least, than Liv Morgan. But it's a shame because Liv Morgan has done everything right. She has hit every single note since coming back. A lot of people think I just hate Liv Morgan. It's the fans that I have beef with, but even with them right now, I'm like, I kind of think that Liv Morgan should be in some capacity at WrestleMania. I don't know that it needs to be shoehorned into the world title match, because I'm gonna be honest, I want Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley solo. That's the feud that I want. That's the feud I'm excited for. That shit's gonna be great. So to just toss her in a triple threat or a fatal four-way, I actually think would be disservice to the great feud that Liv and Rhea could put on. So I'm hoping if they do keep Liv off the WrestleMania card, that immediately they transition to Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan, because I'm frankly right now more excited about that. Shinsuke Nakamura had a great start to 2024 and a great end to 2023. He went from an incredibly forgettable mid-card, even to the point of maybe being on the lower card, to main eventing PLEs, to main eventing episodes of Monday Night Raw, to being one of the top heels on the brand. So it seems a little bit odd that they've done such a great job of building him, but I cannot, for the life of me, find a place for him at WrestleMania, to the point where I think he's not going to be on WrestleMania. I think the place for Shinsuke Nakamura right now is likely going to be the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, unless they do something else. But when you look at titles, Nakamura doesn't fit. When you look at individual feuds, the closest one he's got to something that's like, okay, we could do this at WrestleMania would be Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn is busy against Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship, so that leaves Nakamura with nothing, and that sucks. So I think Nakamura isn't just in danger of being a snub. If I had to put money on somebody here for sure being a snub, I think it's going to be Shinsuke. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Poor Austin Theory is in danger of being left off entirely off of the WrestleMania card. In fact, I feel like the only way right now that he gets on the WrestleMania card is as a Logan Paul henchman, which is crazy to think about because this is the guy that opened WrestleMania against John Cena last year and won. And he's not even in any way, shape, or form capable of creating a feud right now that's WrestleMania worthy. It's too late. The only one that I could see is if they start now and it's him versus Grayson Waller. That is the only way I see Austin Theory getting on the card. And part of the reason why this is, kind of a downer is because Theory has been really fucking good over the last couple of months. It's almost like an in-ring renaissance. I'm not saying that he was bad before, but right now, this 4-5 week stretch of Austin Theory's in-ring work has been majestic. It's like he came back from the injury with Carmelo Hayes a couple of weeks ago and has just been the best version of himself in the ring. His selling has absolutely been phenomenal, but I think I might be a little bit too late right now for Austin Theory. My poor guy Theory, going from beating John Cena at WrestleMania to probably just a henchman to being given a 72 overall in WWE 2K23. That, my friends, is the real travesty. All right, folks, those are my thoughts on some potential WrestleMania snubs. Let me know in the comments down below where you think somebody like Bianca Belair is going to land, because she has to be on WrestleMania. There's no way. I don't know what she's going to do. Let me know in the comments down below, but that's it. I'm done. Get out of here.